Hello everyone, welcome to Oracle Insight. I am very pleased that you have joined me here today. Now the reading is for a pick a card for a yes or no answer to a question that you have. So you're going to hold that question in mind and then you are going to feel into which one of these cards resonates with you the most. Group 1 is See the Signs. Group 2, you've got See the Truth. And group 3, you have Reveal Your Truth. All right then, so once you have decided upon your card, you will find the timestamps for each one in the description below. And so I shall see you in your reading. Hi, Group 1. You chose the first card, See the Signs. Now, just briefly, this card is to do with synchronicities, watching out for signs and messages that might be around you. For instance, conversations that you might hear, pick up on, music, songs that you hear lyrics to that might be delivering a message of some kind. So just bear that in mind as you're going through your time ahead, because that is what that card is speaking to. Okay, so now we're going to turn this over for the yes or no answer. You've got the Fool, the Lovers, and Page of Pentacles. All right, so those are all yes, yes, yes cards. So 3 out of 3 cards reveal yes to me. Now we're going to turn over these for some more details. I just decided to get these all sorted, so it just means less time spent revealing or shuffling the cards, even though they have of course been shuffled. All right, so cards on the table. It looks like there's some communication that needs to be made here. Now you've got the Air Spirit and Knowledge, so that does speak to decision making. It speaks to, this card is talking about approaching things from a very balanced and logical place. It can speak to the beginnings of a venture of sorts, but this is encouraging. If that's the case, then you need to make sure that you approach that venture in a very logical and very mindful, structured way. Okay, and ensure that you're well informed about the decisions you're making before you move ahead. And with the Two of Swords here, this does speak to taking your time, along with the Knowledge, Air Spirit, that does speak to taking your time before making decisions that are going to take you along a path to grow something. Okay, yeah, so it's about informing yourself and not rushing into it. So in one sense, that is certainly something that can apply for some of you. In other cases, it can be a love situation and also family. If it's to do with a family or a romantic situation, then the approach that you would normally take in order to move into a romantic relationship, this is actually saying that given how this falls here, this card here, these cards here, and these ones, this is pointing to not being so logical about the situation. All right, because this one is actually saying that if you went about it from a logical perspective, then you're going to get yourself tied up here and you're not going to be able to get past your thought patterns on this. You actually need to be a bit more, allow a bit more of a relaxed approach to that if it's to do with a romantic relationship, because this is really speaking to being, you know, being in the flow, not being so definitive about things and structured about things. It's allowing yourself to get past the mind, because the mind will just tie you up in knots with regards to this romantic relationship, if that's the case, and really just feel into the essence of it to see how that really connects with you. Because you've got Three of Cups here, which does speak to a happy union. It does speak to gatherings. This is really supporting that connection. Now, if it's to do with family, the wolf spirit and family, this is also speaking to loyalty. It's speaking to, it doesn't need to be biological family, it's a soul group family, connections that you feel that deep bond to. The wolf spirit is a card that represents that. And the Three of Cups is talking to enjoyment to be had with these people, with that soul family of yours that are always there for you and you share a deep love with. This can also speak to communication. And given that we've got swords on the table here, which is about that communication, encouraging the sincerity, being able to speak your truth, then the wolf spirit is saying that this is a good time to do so. If it's to do with the creative venture, as I started off with, and this is really you having that support around you to encourage you through this creation that you're looking at, definitely you need to make sure that things are in place for certain, but this is saying not to overanalyze the details. Well, not the details so much, because you need to have those details in place, but don't get into analysis paralysis with this. All right, so you've got a bit of both. You've got a bit of both. The structure here with the knowledge, and then it's requiring that you also, be open to how things unfold for you with this venture, because requiring that you be willing to see where this path leads and be open to the possibilities. Because the Fool here, just starting off with these yes or no cards, being open to the possibilities of something. So that could speak to a venture, and given the Page of Pentacles is here as well, you are looking to develop. And it could also be that you get a message come in for yourself that's going to support you in being able to move forward with this venture, or it's going to offer a puzzle piece to whatever information it is that you might be waiting on in terms of this knowledge and putting things in place, and it's supporting you and moving forward. So that's really fabulous too. And like with the seed signs and synchronicities, an opportunity to receive some information with regards to that, if that's the venture. And certainly if it's to do with the relationship, then, beginning a new relationship, there is that possibility. It's about starting off on a new trajectory for yourself. With the Lovers there, that possibility for it to be very harmonious and very balanced. I would say that with the way the swords have shown and the wolf spirit and family, sincere, open, honest communication is what's called for. If that is the case and you are entering into a relationship, and of course that could apply across the board with regards to venture and also family. All right, okay, why don't we have a look to see what crystal card as well as angel card here for extra wisdom. Oh, eternal light of love. All right then. And the Herkimer diamond dreams. All right, so where shall I put this? Let's see where we can fit this here. Okay, I might just put that there. This card is really connecting with, see the signs here, and that this is really suggesting that you could get some messages or insight within dreams that assist with whatever you need in regards to project or relationship or family. So That's fantastic. That's really synchronistic there. And with the eternal light of love, see, I love how this is showing up in terms of, obviously the love is there. And the Three of Cups, which is talking to having that connection of love, that eternal source of that love, regardless of what might be happening around you with confusion, this analysis paralysis or whatever might be happening. But certainly love that the dreams has come out, and that really speaks to you with the signs and the ability to receive some kind of insight, some kind of message, or a removal of a block of some kind that is going to assist you in dealing with this 2 and this 8 of Swords energy here. Good stuff. All right then, group number 1. That is the insight that I have for you today. Take care, be safe and well, and I look forward to connecting with you again very soon. Hi and welcome, group number 2. Those of you who selected the See the Truth card. Now, before I turn those cards over, this card is actually to do with you being clear about how you perceive things, people, and situations around you. It asks you to be discerning in your perceptions, potentially seeing through a veil of maybe miscommunication, potentially deception, but we'll see if that's going to connect with the rest of the reading. But why don't we turn over these cards? Okay, well, now, so you have got 7 of Wands, 9 of Swords, and King of Cups. All right, 2 out of 3 of these cards are pointing to a no for me. So the answer to your question is a no. So what we're going to do is select more cards to see if we can get some clarity on the situation. And once those cards have been selected, we shall get on with the reading. So lastly, some more tarot. So starting off with the Page of Wands and Transmutation, the Phoenix. So that really speaks to new beginnings here. You may have felt that with the 7 of Wands here that you've been in a situation where you've just had to persevere, hold your ground, stand amongst people who you've always felt that you've had to defend yourself in some way, or you are holding a position that you just feel is not getting you anywhere. And this is really speaking to that time coming to an end, that you're actually in a period now where the old is going to fall away and the new is beginning. The Page of Wands does speak to new beginnings, of being inspired to do more, to look into what's possible with what you can create in the future. Now, with the 9 of Swords here and Wise Woman of the Grove, Grace, and the Ace of Pentacles. I love how this works together, because basically the 9 of Swords is pointing to anxiety, feeling stressed about things. You're at your wit's end with regards to a situation, and you haven't seen that there could possibly be a way out of it. But the way with the Transmutation, Page of Wands, and these two cards here, this is really speaking to that grace being on offer for you, that sense of peace, of ease, of calm, that mental stress leaving you, and a new beginning coming in. I just love how these new beginnings are really working together with the Ace of Pentacles here, the transmutation, you know, you rising from fire there, the ashes, and coming into a new state of being for yourself. And with the Page of Wands too, that's speaking to new beginnings. So there's an opportunity available to you to actually move out of that sense of distress and actually move into a period of more ease, more calm, more flow. It's also speaking, when I look at this card here, this is also suggesting that if the situation of see the truth, how I explained that there might be a miscommunication, or there might be something that is not quite in alignment with your truth or your understanding of things, then the Wise Woman of the Grove and Grace, it's actually suggesting that you don't actually need to stand your ground like you've been doing. You can just allow them, if this is the case, allow the people around you to have their own points of view, own opinions, because it's speaking to, and the awareness that that truth is a universal truth is a source of peace and grace and calm in itself. It doesn't actually need to have that be agreed upon by others. And with Thicket of Thorns and Uncertainties, well, these speak synchronistically together. That does speak to where you're at right now. This is saying, even if you do remove this blindfold and you cannot see the path ahead that is going to take you through safely, it's okay. It's saying you don't need to tie yourself up in knots in regards to what to do next, because with the Thicket of Thorns and Uncertainty, it's actually speaking to you not doing anything. You don't have to feel like you are being pressured into making a decision, because this is really speaking to timing, divine timing, in fact. And with the King of Cups, so you could have somebody around you who provides you with that emotional support, and it's going to be all right. So that could speak to somebody around you who can be supportive of you in that way. But I do have a sense more that that's the energy that you will need to have within yourself in order to deal with these energies here of uncertainty and confusion here. Because the King of Cups is very emotionally stable, and that stability allows the King of Cups to sit and wait and not feel like they've got to do anything. There's a lot of emotional stability in here, and so, I get the sense that that's really the energy that's going to be more beneficial for you in order to deal with this time of uncertainty, whilst you're actually waiting for the timing to be right on something. And so to see the truth, so that could speak to those around you, but now that these cards are laid, this could literally be you seeing the truth of the situation yourself, understanding that there is a change happening, and this process here is part of steps that need to be taken in order to get through this period of change and transmutation and a regeneration of sorts. Okay, let's see. Let's see if we can get anything else on this, because that seems, especially with the timing. Let's have a look. Because like the Page of Wands is speaking to curiosity, it is speaking to the sense of moving into something. So this speaks to the movement, and then this speaks to holding still. Okay, there's so many swords here. You're really caught up in your thoughts and thought patterns that are not serving at the moment. This speaks to a potential heartache, but I really see that more as a discomfort. It's like you're just not feeling yourself in the situation. All right, so this is what you're moving away from. This is what we need to transmute into this Phoenix energy of a new beginning with the Page of Wands. And with the Five of Swords here, once again, yeah, that's talking to this Nine of Swords, the Eight of Swords. This is really speaking to a kind of like this, like you're needing to defend yourself, like there's an environment around you that's not supportive, needing for you to move away from. This uncertainty here, confusion, and it could even be 3 to 5 weeks, or even 3 to 5 days maybe. So in this situation, the encouragement then is the Page of Wands. I think encouragement of what's possible. Inspire yourself with whatever it is that lights you up. If you're curious about something, you've got an interest in something, then I would definitely encourage you to focus your attention on that. Focus your attention on something that can develop that sense of excitement within you, and that will assist with this energy moving. And I would also encourage you hold to these cards here in terms of the King of Cups energy being steady, stable, and the Wise Woman of the Grove and Grace. Whatever's happening around you, it's about you understanding that you are more than what's happening around you. Don't define yourself by the external, because that is not your truth. And in that, this opportunity is going to be there for you for a new start. It's there because these cards are speaking to it, because you're moving away from this three of Swords energy and away from this 5 of Swords and 8 of Swords energy. These are all energies that have not served you, and so we want to move you out of that. Okay? So whilst you're in this time of stillness, in the sense of potential movement forward, yeah, this is the time I would really encourage you to take up something of interest that you can actually focus your attention on more, so you're not in this energy of having to participate in whatever's going around here. Okay, so let us see what kind of crystal card we can get here, as well as angel card. Let's have a look at some parting guidance. Oh, spiritual awakening. Here and now. Okay. My gosh, well, with the way that these cards have shown up, that kind of makes sense, doesn't it, with transmutation here and spiritual awakening. So you could literally be going through a spiritual awakening, and the tension that you're experiencing with the 7 of Wands, the 9 of Swords and the Swords down here, the 8 and the 5, and with the 3, that's talking to all of that friction around you that usually happens quite often when you do go through this kind of change, because it's about the old no longer fitting the way it used to, and you're trying to make sense of it. There could be some confusion, like here and here. It's, if that is what you are experiencing, it's okay. That is actually part of that process of change. Wow. Group number 2, that is amazing. And you know, with the Page of Wands too, see, this is encouragement for you to maybe look into practices or information that is supporting this spiritual awakening and potentially taking up an interest. If this reading is speaking to that, and now that I'm looking at it, it really does. Obviously it won't resonate with everybody, but now that the cards have been laid, this really actually more and more, it is pointing to some kind of evolution happening here in terms of your inner environment. And of course, that propels changes with the outer environment. Goodness. All right, so yeah, that does make sense. And with the here and now, see, this is speaking to you being in your power in the here and now. It is encouraging you to not invest any energy into thought patterns, into emotions, into exchanges that drain your present power energy of the here and now. So no going back to the past, engaging in energy exchanges that do not serve you whatsoever. Be in the grace, the woman of the grove, in the moment, and the King of Cups energy, having that emotional stability so you can get through this time. With the spiritual awakening and the timing, yeah, that's not something that you would have control over. That's up to the divine. So that makes sense too with those cards coming out. All right, then, that is the insight I have for you, Group 2. My goodness, it took this selenite spiritual awakening card to come out for me to finally see the clarity in the situation, that even though this obviously won't resonate for everybody, this is talking to an awakening of sorts. Those of you who this does resonate, it's a new beginning. You are rising as a phoenix from all this dysfunction, sadness, confusion, heartache, distress, and just feeling like you're not fitting in anymore. My goodness. All right then, so be safe, be well, until I connect with you again very soon. Take care. Hello and welcome to group number 3. Those of you who chose the Reveal Your Truth card. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and, firstly actually, let me explain. This card is speaking to the need to reveal a truth, but it's more to do with your truth. So as you can see, she's taking off the mask, and it's really about the roles that we take on, the way that we behave, being molded by expectations of those around us, our family environments, all those ways that we become someone more in line with other people's expectations of us. Okay, so that's what that card speaks to. So we're going to turn these cards, these tarot cards, over to get a yes or no answer to your question. Goodness. Okie dokie. Yeah, individually, they speak yes to me, but somehow there's a no that resonates through this. All right. I get a sense it's a no, but the cards themselves speak to a yes. So I shall interpret the cards as they appear. I'm going to say that those cards as they are speak to a yes. And we'll put my sense of a no aside. Okay, that's what we're going to do. Yeah, okay then. So yes, yes, yes. All right then. So let us, after that, let us move on to further cards to help us with this situation. See if we can get something further. Oops. Then some more tarot, I think is what's called for. Whoops. Okay, so with these first cards here, that could literally speak to a marriage, because you've got the Queen of Wands here, you've got the King of Wands here, and you've got the Hierophant. So the Hierophant speaking to an institution, to marriage, like a marriage is, and a marriage between the Queen of Wands and the King of Wands. Okay, so there are a couple of ways to look at this. If it is to do with a marriage, then, or a potential of a marriage, the Fool and patience here, the foggy bog, this is having patience, not being foolhardy in your movement forward. If you are in a relationship and you are thinking about marriage, then this is talking to moving on to that path, that there is a new beginning in front of you. Now, with patience there, this is really suggesting that you not move ahead too quickly before the fog lifts. With the fog there, it's like the vision is not clear, and you don't want to be the fool like in the picture who steps off the cliff. There are some details, some information that needs to come to hand. And so this is really like with the fog, it's about being still. Now with the mystic meadow and sanctuary, if this is to do with a relationship moving towards that next step of a marriage, then this is potential for a real sense of connectedness, to stability, to a sanctuary, that sense of feeling at peace, at home with this person potentially. And you've got the Two of Wands here. So this castle is speaking to that stability, that security of a home. You may actually have already got that established already if you are in a relationship and you're just looking to take it to the next level. So you might actually have that already set up for yourselves, and you're just trying to see your way to the next step. Now with the Owl Spirit and Wisdom, this is speaking about having a deeper sense of knowledge, wisdom, understanding, like especially with the Hierophant. Like the Hierophant can speak to a marriage, and it can also speak to that connection with the divine, being able to tap into a wisdom beyond yourself, having that wisdom guide you in the decision making that you need and the truth that needs to be accessed. And given that the Reveal Your Truth has come out here too, I feel that there is some kind of disclosure or something that needs to be shared in honesty, whether it's with yourself or your partner. If this is resonating for you, there does seem to be this essence of being the truth sharer with the Owl Spirit and Wisdom, being that as well as seeker. So it could actually apply both ways. But given that these two are here, that does speak to something that needs to be seen clearly before that step forward is taken. And with Page of Pentacles, so this is the beginnings of something, building something, creating something more. Because when I look at that, if this is to do with a relationship that you're currently in, that you're wanting to take to the next level, that does indicate that you have that base there, and it's about growing it. Now, for some of you, if this is speaking to a current marriage, I get the sense here that there might be some disharmony at the moment. The two of you are not quite connecting like you normally would do. With this Reveal Your Truth card, potentially point to the need for some honesty, a heart-to-heart, a conversation, communication that is had in the spirit of wanting to reconnect, that sincerity and that honesty in regards to how you are feeling with the relationship. If this is in fact the case and you're feeling like there's this disharmony at the moment. And once again, I mean, there is the potential for a new beginning in some way with the Fool there. But the same interpretation applies as with the first interpretation, in that the clarity isn't there to make any decision right now. There's some patience that needs to be had because the view is not clear. You don't want to be the fool that steps off the cliff with this. There needs to be clear vision before moving forward. So I'm thinking specifically if this was speaking to you or one of you actually wanting to potentially move on from this relationship, I would definitely advise caution and just allow things to settle a bit before you make a decision to move on, if that does in fact resonate with, because you do have the mystic meadows and sanctuary here, so that does really speak to a home base that is comforting, like a haven. It does offer you that sense of refuge, that sense of stability with the castle here, right? But it does also speak to potentially, if that's you, looking out into the world and maybe wanting to investigate what might be possible for you out there. And this is under the King of Wands, so this is the home base. Now that's an energy of King of Wands, so of course, because I'm speaking marriage, it could literally be husband and wife, husband, wife, wife. Also, because this owl spirit wisdom and the Page of Pentacles is there. See, the Page of Pentacles in this situation, with that interpretation, this could potentially be an indication that there just needs to be a reinvestment of time into a relationship, into that connection in order to build it again. That it doesn't necessarily mean it's the end of a marriage or a relationship, but there is potential there to regrow, to reconnect. And it just requires some attention of what it is that you've built together with that Page of Pentacles and that pentacle there. You've got history. Not only the history from behind, but it's speaking to the ability to rebuild it into something more, to regrow it into something wonderful. With the owl spirit and wisdom, so once again, that's speaking to a truth to be had. It's connecting with a sense of wisdom, truth, understanding that allows you to see the possibilities here with the Page of Pentacles and that reconnection that might be on offer. I mean, with the Hierophant, you could seek counsel, a therapist maybe, somebody who is in a professional capacity to assist with any disconnection that's happening at the moment, if that is the case. But regardless, with the reveal your truth there, the wisdom there, and the fog there, they're speaking to some hidden truth, something that is requiring disclosure, some honesty. This disharmony might be to do with a miscommunication and misunderstanding maybe, and it has resulted in that fog there. It's supported that distance and that disconnection, if that's the case. Goodness. All right then, let's have a look at an angel. Actually, we're going to do the crystal card first. Ancient Wisdom. Oh wow, you've got the wisdom and the ancient wisdom there. And the angel card here. Energy. Wow, with those cards coming out, that's interesting. Firstly, let me just address the ancient wisdom with the owl spirit and wisdom. So this is you being able to tap into a truth that is available to you, that is source given. It's about that providing that clarity and that truth for you. It's like you knowing, there's a knowing in this. There is actually clarity in this too. There's a truth that you have access to. And we have been speaking about a truth. It's really interesting. But I must say, it's this card here that's kind of brought in another spin on the reading. And because this is to do with, firstly, as it says, it's energy. And given that you've got the Queen of Wands here, the King of Wands here, that's speaking to a lot of energy. There's fire energy in there. Okay, and look with this light coming down and that connection from the divine. There is that energetic flow supporting you. But with this card, it's just brought to mind another interpretation for this entire reading. For some of you, it could literally be that you are dealing with the passing of a loved one. Because with the Queen of Wands here, King of Wands, once again, that's speaking to a marriage, And then with the Hierophant, that's speaking to that connection with the divine, and it could literally mean that your loved one has passed over and you can't quite see your way forward. This Patience card is asking you to have that compassion for yourself, have that patience. There is no need to rush forward into anything that you are not ready for right now. It's okay to be still. It's okay to take your time. And with this sanctuary, so obviously when I see this could literally have been the fact that, you know, you had communion with your loved one that's passed on, and you just can't imagine, you know, moving out into the world alone. Your loved one was that world for you, that castle of stability. Because with the energy card here, with that interpretation, it's speaking to them being around you and them wanting you to know that they are with you. They send their love, and their energetic connection is still available to you, right? And they're flowing that to you all the time. If this is resonating and you are keeping yourself together, not sharing that vulnerability, not sharing your pain with others, this is really encouraging you to share that. Show yourself, reveal that hurt, that vulnerability, that loneliness, if that is the case. But most definitely, yeah, that's interesting, that should really put a spin on it. But it's right here next to the Hierophant, which does speak to your being able to connect with your passed on loved one energy. And you also claiming the truth of that with the wisdom and the ancient wisdom crystal too. There is a sense of renewal in your energies, and so you feel that it is possible to move on. But there's no need to rush. That sadness, that loss will eventually dissipate enough where you are more willing to connect with the wisdom of the through the divine and move forward. Oh my goodness, okay, that was an interesting final turn there at the end. My goodness, wow. All right then, group number 3, those of you who chose Reveal Your Truth. Be safe, be well, and until I connect with you again very soon in another reading, take care.